Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. It is 1 p.m. on Monday, April 4th, and this is Admissions Live. I'm your host, Chris Dorso, and on today's live broadcast, we are talking about yield, that mystical, magical number that determines what our incoming classes look like each fall. And we're going to talk with Daniella from Skidmore. Skidmore is doing some interesting things this spring to impact their fall yield. And so we will talk to her about sharing her ideas and your ideas as well. So if you're watching and you've got ideas, you've got things that you're doing that are fun and creative, or questions about how we're doing some of these kinds of things that we're doing, please feel free to drop us a tweet at Higher Ed Live or me right there. Boom. And we will address any of your questions along the way. Admissions Live, of course, part of the Higher Ed Live network. We offer viewers direct access to the best and the brightest minds in education. Live webcasts like this one allow viewers to share knowledge and participate in discussions around the most important issues in the industry. And today's live viewing experience is powered by Maestro, the premier marketing tech platform for broadcaster. All the episodes of Admissions Live are free and accessible in the video archives at higheredlive.com. And if you want to hear us but not see us, in podcast form on iTunes. Today's episode is made possible by our friends at Chegg Enrollment Services. Chegg connects colleges and universities with nearly 80% of the college-bound students who are researching schools online. Chegg uses an online platform that includes some of the most popular college search sites and helps you save over 90% of the cost of traditional inquiry gathering methods. And you can email outreach@chegg.com, CHEGG, to schedule a free consultation. Higher Ed Live, of course, produced by M. Stoner, a marketing and communications firm that works with educational institutions on branding, strategy, web design, and more. Are you preparing for a website redesign project like we are here at Stony Brook, actually? Knowing that your website needs an overhaul isn't usually the problem, but getting started is. And you can download M. Stoner's helpful 7-step checklist to get you started on the right path for a successful website redesign. And that tweet is out into the ether. And I just realized that I don't have my tweet deck open. Hey, there it is. Okay, cool. Out into the world from the Higher Ed Live Twitter account. So make sure you follow us there if you do not already. All right, Daniella Nordin is the digital engagement manager at Skidmore College in the Office of Marketing and Communication. She produces and curates content with the aim to cultivate prospective students and alumni. A native of the great state of Ohio, she's a graduate of the Ohio State University, even though she didn't capitalize the in her script, which I'm sure she's going to hear from them. She holds an MA in Communications from the University at Albany, and in her spare time listens to podcasts, watches The West Wing, and drinks Diet Coke, which we can't promote because we're a Pepsi school. So there you go. But you can tweet her if you'd like at Daniella Nordin, Nordin, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris. And in my defense, I had the in the Ohio State University capitalized, and I'm pretty sure somewhere along the way it got edited out. I wouldn't.
All right, yeah, we'll okay, that's fine. It's Google's fault. Blame the Googles.
Wouldn't do it to the Buckeyes. Wouldn't even dream of it.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about Skidmore for those who may not know about your campus. It's funny, you do enough of these conferences, and it's always interesting when you're hearing about the things that other schools are doing, and to try to either scale it up or scale it down or whatever to what you're doing on your campus. So let's talk a little bit about Skidmore, so we've got some perspective on what we're talking about.
Yeah. So Skidmore is a small, I think we have about 2,400, 2,500 undergraduate students. We're a liberal arts school. We're in Saratoga Springs. If you haven't been to Saratoga Springs, I highly recommend it. Maybe not this week because it is snowing. So we're going to talk about yield in a minute, and nothing says welcome accepted candidates like 3 inches of snow.
In fact, we should probably promote that more to all of our admitted students, that it's not snowing here. Yeah. So for all of you who have been accepted to campuses in upstate or Western New York, please let me direct you to our nice green lawns outside.
It was such a mild winter, and then we're just getting dumped on this week. So. Yeah. But we're going to power through. So we, I think what Saratoga is probably most known for is shopping, restaurants. We've got the oldest operating sports venue in the nation. It's the Saratoga Racetrack, where thoroughbred horse racing happens for 6 weeks in the summer, and it is a lovely, lovely time to be here. during the school year, we've got all sorts of things happening. We've got 19 varsity or D3 school. Our mascot is the Thoroughbred, which is a nice tie-in to the track. Let's see, what else do I want to say here? We're strong in the arts. We've got a nice foundation in visual and performing and studio arts, but over the last 10 years, we've actually seen a doubling of our science majors. So almost a third of our students now major in the sciences, life and physical sciences, which is really nice. Our tagline is Creative Thought Matters, and I think that really embraces what Skidmore stands for. Our students and our young alums especially really latch onto that tagline and believe in it wholeheartedly. It's not uncommon to see double majors. I actually know a student from the class of 2014 who is a neuroscience and dance major. Yeah, which is really cool, something you don't see a lot of. A little bit about our student body, since we are talking about yield. I don't think we're too different from our peer institutions. We admit about 2,500 students for each class. Our goal is to yield somewhere around 650 and 700. I think the biggest graduating class we had was 712. That was the class of 2014. So this year, I think our number, weirdly enough, you're going to laugh at this, we're looking to yield 666 students, so 666. I know, right? Had to get that out there. We yield about 15%. And a couple of years ago, our president came out and set a goal that he wants to increase yield 1% every year over the next 5 years. So that's something, yield is definitely on our minds and something we are charged with improving. So it's nice that this kind of ties in. We're particularly interested in yielding more male students. So we were founded as an all-women's college, and we went co-ed in the 70s. So right now we're at about 60-40, which is the national average, but we're always looking to yield and recruit more male students. We're also interested in yielding strong strong academic students, unlike me, who can talk and are articulate. Increasing our diversity on campus and increasing full pay students, which I think are a lot of common goals that we see across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you there. So it's funny that and impressive that your president says, "Hey, yield is a priority," because yield is sort of one of those things that, you know, and I go back to the history of this show. Even we did a show a while back about, we did a presentation at Hyatt Web last year, 2 years ago, about sort of the language that we speak in admissions land, and how. The concept behind yields it's simple math. It's literally all it is. It's your number of students who enroll divided by the number of students you admit, and how important that number is, and that concept of, okay, if we just raise yield 1%, or you know, the reverse, if our yield goes up 1% or goes down 1%, how that impacts things like orientation and class sizes and you know, space in the residence halls and all those kinds of things, and so. It's a number that it's probably, of all the things we do, for better or for worse, we have, interestingly, sort of the least control over, I suppose.
So true. Yep.
Some manner of control over what we do to impact yield. And there are, you know, obviously lots of creative ways to do that we're going to talk about, hopefully. But, you know, the challenge of, you know, it's not just as simple as, oh, we'll just increase yield 1% and you are good to go.
Yep. Well, and in our case, it's not just 1%, it's 1% every year for 5 years, you know? So yeah, you nail it 1 year, but then the pressure's on to keep doing it, you know, to make sure that you're getting these students in. And even beyond that, you know, I kind of broke down into our little buckets. I mean, it's yielding the right students. You know, a Skidmore student is different from a Stony Brook student, you know? Sure. And so we want to make sure that we get the students, you know, the best fit, but still hit the goals that we're set out to get to. So it is tough. I get where people are struggling with things.
Very much. Now, let's talk a little bit about your cycle. You guys have an early decision program?
Yes, yeah. So we're early decision, not early action. Our first round, we have round 1 and round 2. Our first deadline is December 15th. And a nice little thing we like to tout is, you know, you can You can find out where you want to go, where you're going to school, right around the holidays. So that's a nice little bonus. And then our second deadline is January 15th, and that's our round 2 early decision and also our regular decision. The benefit of applying early decision round 2 is that you find out, gosh, it's almost like maybe a whole 6 weeks before regular decision, you find out whether or not you've been accepted. So we like to tout that too. They find out around Valentine's Day. One of the goals we had this year was actually to increase our early decision apps. And so we enroll about 42% of our class through early decision. This year, we actually enrolled about 50% of our class through early decision. So we were able to hit that number, which made our Dean of Admissions very happy. And then we let our regular decision students know around March 24th. Actually, I think this year it was March 24th. So we sent out our packets in the mail, and then everybody's deadline to enroll is, May 1, the big day, big decision day. So we did a couple different things this year with early decision. I think I actually have some nice visuals to show everybody. I know, right? It's really exciting. So I'm going to show you guys. We do still send out an acceptance packet, and we went back and forth on this, whether or not to send out an actual packet, a physical packet, or whether or not to send an email, because I know a lot of schools are doing both, and some schools will even release the decisions with a URL and people will come on. But Skidmore has a really strong tradition. People love getting our acceptance packet. And what really resonates with people is this yes on the folder, which is actually backwards on the screen, and I apologize.
No, it's forward on our side. It's just backwards.
Okay, it's backwards on mine. I know how computers work.
Right.
So we actually, whenever we sent this out, and we've sent this one out for about 10 years, students actually take pictures of that yes folder. And I think I've seen St. Lawrence actually this year has a big red folder, or last year had a big red folder that said the big envelope. And this year it says hashtag SLU said yes. I've seen University of Illinois do something similar where it's right on the envelope. You know what you're gonna get that moment. You don't even have to kind of open it. And we have sort of hidden ours behind the envelope, so that when you open it up, it says yes. And we've got videos of students who are, screaming when they see the packet, and it's nice. So we stuck with that.
Yeah. I think everybody's conscious of the packet as a concept right now. I mean, I know we cut ours back significantly, and this is one of those sort of scaling questions I was talking about earlier. We admitted for this fall over 13,000, almost 14,000 students, and so the mailing costs and production costs for 14,000 packets, they got exorbitant, so we had to cut back. But to your point of having that sort of notification right on the envelope, that's what we did. That was one of our changes a couple of years back. Was as soon as you saw it, oh yes, this is good news. Good news inside, I think, was the first major change we made. So yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Perfect. No, that's a totally excellent point. I can't even imagine what it must be like to admit 13,000 students, by the way. No, thank you. The social media for that would be crazy. So.
Yes. Very much.
But anyway, so to give you an idea of the inside of our packet here, this is our old one. And the main thing I want to hit home with this is that it's basically the best way I could describe it was a house, and then we kept adding on additions. So it wasn't really cohesive. There was a lot of filler material in there. Some stuff people had already received, our view book or our stats, for all the important transactional call to action, what were yellow and green copy sheets of paper. And we were just we are not making this exciting. We do not make students want to fill this out. We're making them work a little too hard for it. So we kept some stuff, and we came up with a new packet, and I will show you guys the new one. The cover doesn't look too different, but it does say it's a little updated and a little more branded. This is also a lot thinner and a lot more cohesive. So this is where your acceptance letter, your financial aid award package goes. Here's a nice little message from our president, and then when you open it up, there's, we'll get to our 2020 glasses in a second, but it's a nice cohesive spread. These are inserts that come out. Everything is tailored to you. Everything is nice and clean. And it came out in a clear, transparent envelope. So right away, people are seeing that, yes, through a clear, transparent envelope, which is pretty cool. That was the big change that we had done, was we streamlined everything. And then we've got 2 other changes. I'm going to go ahead and be a total geek and put on my Skidmore 2020 glasses for you guys. I know, right? Are these not so cool? Are you a little jealous that you don't have a pair, Chris?
Keep telling yourself that. Yes.
I can send you a pair if you want one. But every regular decision student got a pair of these. They were sort of a surprise gift in the packet. And the great thing about these glasses, I don't think I'm going to be able to keep these on that much longer because I can see myself, is that they acted as a social media engagement tool. So one of the cards we had in our packet was a Skidmore 2020 card. And on the back were directions on how to take your selfie and submit it so that we could give you a shout out. So they got a bonus of, you know, feeling cool and special with the glasses. And then we get a bonus of seeing and tracking that engagement. And I think I included some real life examples of some of the class of 2020 students who had gotten the glasses and have reacted. So one student had said something like, did anybody else get the Skidmore glasses? I actually love them. And there's a comment train. He posted that in the Skidmore 2020 group. And there's a comment chain of people who had gotten the glasses and who were jealous of people who, you know, who had gotten them and they hadn't gotten theirs yet. Somebody said something like, they're so cheesy, I love it. You know, so they're really, really owning this. I have another student who changed her Facebook profile picture to a selfie of her with the glasses, which was really cute. And then my favorite one, we'll get to Snapchat in a second, but we do have directions on how to send us a snap of you in your glasses. And there is a student who put on her brother's 2020 glasses and then wrote in the number 2. And the caption is, living through my brother's acceptance for the class of Skidmore 2022. So we've successfully yielded this class, and now I'm yielding 2 years into the future. So job security, guys.
Yeah, seriously, that's well done.
Well, and you can't ask for anything better than that. I mean, that's like testimonial gold. That's, you know, what we're going to show our board. This is the stuff that works, you know? So yeah, that was pretty exciting for us. I mentioned Snapchat. We're getting some snaps. We are on the Snapchat train. Are you guys on Snapchat?
We are not, no. I mean, we've done some stuff with campus dining, and athletics has done some Snapchat stuff, but not from an admissions perspective yet, no.
Yeah, well, and it's tough because I'm not sure what our content strategy on there is. We tried to come up with one, and then when you get in there and actually do it, it all sort of goes out the window. I've seen a few schools do it well. Dartmouth did one for when they were mailing out their acceptances. They did a really great snap story. I've seen University of West Virginia, or West Virginia University, WVU, actually had their president do a takeover, and that was pretty cool. So he was fielding questions on Snapchat, but we're not quite sure what we're doing with it yet. So we did this as a test, you know, send us your snaps, and it's surprisingly where we're getting the most engagement for these glasses. I think they're a little worried to post pictures of themselves on their Instagram and in the Facebook group looking kind of dorky with these glasses on, but it's totally easy for them to send us a snap and think, you know, oh, it's going to go away, or it's a one-shot thing, you know. And
well, it turns out it's not, because that's going to be the cover of the view book next year.
Yeah, it's going to be the cover of the view book. And I'm saving your screenshots and I'm showing them to our board, but but you know, whatever. They do seem to like that. So
you talked a little bit about the social piece, and obviously and we can get into Snapchat deeper. You know, we could get into, you know, all the different kinds of things, but how are you playing up the social thing? Because social, as you know, is the solution to all of college and university life's problems.
It's so true. Just put it on social media. I mean, how many times have we
Exactly.
So thankfully, this one's going really well. you know, the big thing that we did was equip these students with this hashtag Skidmore 2020, giving them this card. You know, the early decision students got this, the regular decision students got it. That hashtag follows them everywhere. You know, it's the name of their Facebook group. It's the hashtag that's, you know, tagged with every interaction that we have with them. And this is kind of funny. I have to give a shout out to Matt Hames at Colgate, who is not a fan of hashtags if you're not using them for conferences. It's a really interesting stance that he has, and you should listen to him sometimes. It's a little self-serving. I mean, it is. I want that Skidmore name out there. I want the students to share that. I think that's why people think social media is the silver bullet, because everybody's going to latch on. It's going to get your word out there, and it's free, you know.
Well, I think that's, you know, and not to sort of spin off the hashtag thing, but I think, you know, Matt's point is an interesting one, and I don't even think he knows we're talking about him. We probably don't want him, but, you know, I think that's one of the, you know, the joke about, oh, social media will fix all of the problems. You know, we're, you know, planning all of our spring events and all this kind of stuff right now, and we're looking at all the various hashtag things, and the challenge is getting buy-in on a hashtag for more than just the official account. You know, we can say that, you know, oh, hey, it's Wolfstock, for example, our homecoming. You know, you make sure you hashtag your pictures with Wolfstock, but there's got to be something in it for your students in
Absolutely.
order for them to do that. Otherwise, they're not going to. There's no reason for them to do that if there's not. And it doesn't mean that sort of the natural thought is some sort of a contest or whatever, but you know, there's got to be some reason to hashtag the things that you're hashtagging. And it's obvious from the university side why we're hashtagging the stuff, because we want to collate and we want to promote and all those kinds of things. But you've given students the reason to say, hey, here's your hashtag, run with it and own it. Give them ownership of it with full support from the school.
Yeah, it's totally true. And so one of the things we're doing, I actually like to say that it's, I don't know how many Mean Girls fans we have out there, but it's like making fetch happen. And sometimes you can't make fetch happen. You just have to stop trying, you know? So no matter how many times you use the hashtag, if they're not using it and if there's no buy-in, then forget it. You're going to have to switch tactics. One of the things we started doing with our early decision students, though, is every time that they tweeted with it, we tweeted them back a personal congratulations message with and then we started doing this last year with a cute little Skidmore picture, and it had their name on them. That was like, you know, congratulations on joining the class, welcome to the family, you know, very personal messages. If somebody tweeted that they had been recruited for one of our sports teams, we gave them, you know, a photo of the fans cheering, you know, or in comments like nothing but net, you know, congratulations on joining the basketball team. And they go crazy for that stuff. That's a small sort of low-hanging fruit that everybody really seems to like. And we've got a couple of templates that we cycle out, you know, and we put their names on it. So that's something that is in it for them. We also feature their photos on our webpage, and then on the skidmore.edu/2020 page, we have a Storify that's curating all of the photos of people in their 2020 glasses or with their card. And I'm still surprised that actually resonates with people and students, that they like that as much as we think they do. Being on the web page is still a big deal to them. And so we're happy to put that on there and give them a shout out that way too.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think there's definitely that that sense of recognition, of acknowledgement that is so very, very simple from an institutional standpoint. Just purely, you know, acknowledging that they are using the hashtag, acknowledge that they are. If they're willing to put themselves out there and you're recognizing that, that's so very important. Every year I always have, you know, at least a half dozen or so students on Twitter who I follow from day one when they first started. We stumbled across, you know, in our search box or whatever, and we follow them all the way through. And you see that relationship build.
Absolutely.
You know, yourself and with the students and all of that. And the joy of social, and maybe the reason why people think, oh, it's, you know, the panacea for all of our ills, is that in a lot of cases it's free. So, you know, it's free to just respond to a tweet, to retweet someone, hey, I just got into the Stony Brook School Social Work Program. Hey, great, congratulations, welcome, those kinds of things. You're right, it's a low-hanging fruit. It's so easy, but so impactful.
Yeah.
And I mean, just a couple weeks ago, I posted something. I don't remember what. Like, it happens all the time to me as the social media guy. Like, I'll tweet something at a band I like or a brand I like, and they'll like the tweet, or then I'm like, whoa.
Yep.
Like, that's cool for me, and I know it's just some guy with his phone doing it, and that's fine. Like, that's fine.
But I think you're totally right. And like you and I know it's just some guy with the phone. And I think students are more aware now than they were before that schools do have social media people, but it's still a big deal to get, an institution or a place that you apply to, or if it is your dream school, a shout out like that. I think it still goes a long way. So
I remember what it was. I just scrolled down and looked. Mr. Man liked my tweet from the other day.
Nice.
That's super cool. Like, not that there's any question, like, of my support for the Mets here on the day after opening day. But regardless, like, that kind of connection, like, that helps foster that. And there's no reason we can't do that from an institutional standpoint.
Yeah. And I think we could probably talk about this forever, but just one more note. It breaks down that weird, like, web anonymity divider, like, it is personal. It's one of the reasons why celebrities like Twitter, and why they tweet themselves, because it breaks down and puts you in contact with people. And it's one of the reasons why people like social media, because it's a customer service and sort of a direct access to things that you wouldn't have gotten a chance to do before.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, and I think the size question, again, to talk back about scalability and all those kinds of things, one of the challenges we face here at a big research university is that we're a big research university, and people don't think we're listening. People don't think that we're answering problems and all those kinds of things. And we are friendly online, and I work very hard to make sure that we're friendly online. And you've got to build that relationship as early as you can to help that. That's what yield is solidifying that relationship between you as an institution and your students who you've offered admission to.
Yeah. And I think it also meets them at a medium where they are,
Right.
I can't tell you how many student workers I've had who are like, why do you keep emailing me? Just text me. Or, why did you Facebook message me? And I think it's a lot easier for them to do something off their phones that's quick, that's, a Facebook, or take a selfie or send a snap, than it is to send an email. Will you please, they're just not into that. And so it meets them where they are too.
So what other web stuff have you done?
Yeah. Okay. So the other big thing, so the glasses were our big gift. The other thing we changed this year was every acceptance packet got a personalized URL or a purl. And this is a little old school. It's new for us. But the great thing about this landing page is the dynamic content that's fed to these students on this page. So we've got 3 sort of programs that you should know about. The London First Year Experience program, we offer it to about 300 students, but there are only 40 seats. And basically what you can do is spend your first semester of college ever in London, which is really cool. It's a first come, first served. It's kind of competitive, though we did have a problem filling it a couple of years ago. We had 36 students. We couldn't get to that 40. So this year it was like, reserve your spot, get a chance before it's gone. We really sort of marketed a little bit more. We also have a discovery tour, which is for students that are traditionally underrepresented, high needs students, or are students of color. We invite them up to campus for 3 days. They stay overnight. They get customized programming. They get to, meet and stay with a student. They get to take a tailored class to them, sit in on the class. They go bowling together one night. I know Chris loves bowling, so, the purest way to yield students is to take them bowling. But it's a nicely tailored program for them. That's offered to about 750 students, and we try to get about 300 or 400. That program alone actually ends up yielding 65, 70%, which is really big. And then we have our regular accepted candidates days. So based on your role and the acceptance packet that you got on your landing page and your personalized URL, you see dynamic content that's fed to you. So say you are a discovery tour student who also has a chance to go to London. You can select that you're registering for the discovery tour, that you are interested in securing your spot in London, and then bing, bang, boom, you're done, from that page. So
that's easy if you're just pulling the information out of your CRM. That's easy to stick all that in there, and you're good to go.
Yep, and I just want to, Velocity was the vendor that we used, and they were really great. They set up the purls for us. They printed it all out. They matched everything. You know, we had testing landing pages, and it's been really great. The best part, though, and I know you'll like this too, Chris, is we get real-time data from the purls. And so I've spent the last 3 days just going in and seeing what students are clicking on, you know, what's resonating with them. Are they looking at the social stream for the 2020? How many people have signed up? We can download who has signed up and who hasn't, because we've got plans to follow up with them in a week and let them know, you know, to still sign up for Accepted Candidates Day, or can we answer any questions? What can we do to kind of get you to enroll? But I pulled some numbers for us on Friday. So far, we've had about 1,250 hits, which is really good. 24 London FYE, and that's, we're aiming for about 40, so we're more than halfway there, and we still have a month to go, which is awesome. We've got 17 clicks. Oh no, that's not 17, that's 171. Yeah, that's a typo. 171 clicks to register for Accepted Candidates Days, which isn't as big as I would like, but it's still really early. So if anything, these purls have helped us get out like way ahead of the game than we were last year, when everything was done by email and keep reminding emails and send in your paper, you know. So it's been a really big change for us. And I just want to hit, it's all about the user experience and making it easier for these students to do this stuff, because the easier it is for them to actually register, the easier it is for them to actually come to campus.
And I tell you, not only the user experience, which is obviously so important, but on the back end, the data is really, really great. And
yes,
that's one of the joys of this digital experience, is that you can drill down to such a small, a micro level, and see the way that like really individual kinds of things impact your yields, you know, and that grew from, you know, okay, what percentage of students opened our email? You know, we know X number, you know, 40% of our students opened our email, to, yeah, what are they clicking on? Or, you know, we put this link in the email and nobody has clicked on it, or we're getting a lot more, you know, from any particular thing, and everything can be so micro targeted now. That, you know, so as you said, you're trying to increase your male enrollment. You know, we're trying to increase female enrollment. It's the same problem, just from a different angle, obviously. But we can look at, okay, so if we're sending, you know, the way that we're sending things, what kinds of real specific responses are we getting? And whether that be through some of the vendors, like you mentioned, Velocity, who's great. There are ways to do it externally. There are ways to do it internally. And it's really never been more important, because those little kind of things really add up.
Yeah, and it's kind of changing and shaping our strategy too. So, you know, we had a link on there that was like Skidmore history. Maybe they want to find out, you know, the history of Skidmore. It's gotten like 9 clicks. So maybe we take that link off, you know, or we put the links that people are clicking higher. Like, we can adjust the page. I think actually you mentioned M Stoner being a sponsor. Greg Zaguda is a big proponent of this, of looking at your real-time analytics and revising your web page and making it better and giving people what they want to see up front. So, you know, if they're clicking on the bookstore to buy, you know, Skidmore swag, let's make it easier for them to buy Skidmore swag and move that link up and put it right front and center for them. So that's what's going to happen next week. We take a look and download all these results and figure out what we're going to revise and how to make it even more easier for these students.
Yeah, we 3 years ago, we the way that the university here, we tried to shift our notifications to students. We want to get students connected with their Stony Brook email addresses, their university email addresses. And so the decision came down, all right, we're going to start sending information after they get admitted to their university email addresses, so that they know to check their email addresses. And so this decision was sort of made over there somewhere. And we said, hey, here's the problem. No one is checking their university email addresses because they don't know they exist yet. And so we did a little A/B testing, and we sent a coupon to our bookstore. We sent like a 20% off coupon, and like the open rates were like 80% to their personal emails and like 4% to their university emails. And so, you know, again, using these analytics are so very eye-opening, and really enable you to see what's happening real time and out in the real world, as they say.
Yeah, it's true. And it's funny that you mentioned A/B testing. So one of the things we wanted to do this year, but we didn't get a chance to do, was A/B test the personalized URLs. So we thought we could split up the group. Half would receive a Pearl and half of them would just be sent to a generic landing page, the skidmore.edu/2020. You would still be able to do most of the stuff. You could still register for an accepted candidates day or for Discovery Tour or for London, but it wouldn't be like, congratulations, Daniella, and you've been offered London. That's one of the things that I think I wish we would have gotten a chance to do, but we just weren't prepared to do it this year. And I think to your data point, that would have been even more fascinating to see, what our return would have been.
All right, so we talked social, we saw the Yes book, we talked classes. So what other sorts of media kinds of things have you done?
Yeah, so actually I think the Instagram sign behind me is the biggest thing we're going to do this year for. We'll start at the very beginning. We know how much print, no matter how good your print is, no matter how good your social media is, nothing really replaces a campus visit. How many times have we heard, I just walked onto campus and I just got that vibe, or I just knew it was the right place for me, or I was crazy about my tour guide, or somebody held the door open for me, the fall leaves, all of that stuff. You can't replace that. So we are trying to drive more and more students to come to our Accepted Candidates Day. Maybe not this week again because of the snow, but it'll all be melted by the 15th, so everybody's invited. So one of the things we're doing is trying to incorporate and integrate more media into our campus visits. So we printed out these Instagram cutouts, which I think a lot of schools have now. We got ours off of Etsy from a shop called Social Cutouts. They were $60 a pop. They were totally fast. They had printed, they came assembled, you could incorporate emojis, you can custom everything. So I highly recommend that. We've got a photo booth set up on campus for a Discovery Tour where you can print out your little photo strips, and we've got our hashtag Skidmore 2020 on those. So that'll follow them there. We also just launched a Skidmore podcast. So we're actually going to send out a confirmation email to everybody who's signed up. And it's like 3 things you can do when you come to an Accepted Candidates Day. Stop by the photo booth, take a picture at the Skidmore sign with the hashtag, and you can listen to the Skidmore podcast on your way up, which is pretty cool. You can subscribe. So it's just another way to get different media out there in front of them. So yeah, I see Chris taking notes. He's stealing my ideas right now.
I'm totally stealing the podcast idea. That's fantastic.
It's called
idea stolen.
Right? Yeah. It's called This is Skidmore, and we only have 2 episodes up, but the first one actually is like 5 questions to ask your head tour guides. So we interviewed 4 head guides, and they were just stellar. I mean, your tour guides, anyway, you guys can utilize these students. They're really your ambassadors. They love Skidmore. They're happy to talk about Skidmore. They're professional. They're authentic. They're always positive. So I can't say enough good things about that. And then the second podcast is an interview with our sports statistician professor, and our women's basketball coach on bracketology. And that was pretty cool too. And I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Jackie Vetrano on staff, who has her own podcast and was really one of the big reasons we were able to get This is Skidmore up and running. She's been editing and recording and all of that stuff. And it's been really cool.
Good. So, yeah. All right. So what's next for you guys? Maybe.
Man, I'm ready to retire. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to sit in front of the fireplace and read a book. No.
Yes. Good plan.
Good plan. We're right in the middle. April is definitely yield season for us. We're aiming for that May 1. The big thing we have on our list is analyzing and interpreting those analytics from the purls, revamping the landing page based on those analytics, taking some links, moving them around. We're planning on setting up that follow-up email and tracking our return on that. We're going to keep engaging with hashtag Skidmore 2020 on social media. And then this is something we've been playing around with, is the idea of asking our early decision students to play a role in yielding, maybe a student-to-student thing. So one of the things we're seeing in the Facebook group is, I'm on the fence about Skidmore. Can you guys give me some reasons why it was the school for you? And our early decision students have really been doing a good job of saying, sharing their stories. We've got a couple of Twitter chats scheduled. which will be our new version of live chats. We're throwing around an idea of doing a Reddit Ask Me Anything. And then we have April 11th, we're doing a Facebook Live event with our international students. We've got current international students who will be talking to accepted international students. So we'll see how that goes. I'm a little hesitant about Facebook Live, but we'll give it a whirl.
Yeah, we're trying, our big new thing that we're doing tomorrow night actually is a parent event.
Oh, cool.
Parents. And so we're targeting parents with a live video chat. We've got current students and their parents, and we're going to have them on from live via satellite from home. We're going to try to see how it shakes out and see if we can do. We started doing parent outreach in a specific way electronically this year. We're going to see if that bears any fruit tomorrow night and see if
is that part for yield?
Folks jump in. Yeah, as a yield piece.
Cool.
We're gonna, you've got questions about, your child's Stony Brook experience. We're gonna see how it shakes out.
That's a great idea.
So it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. And one of the cool things about social and the cost involved for a lot of these things, it costs nothing to do a Twitter chat. It costs nothing to do a lot of this stuff. And sometimes you can sort of throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks. And one never knows.
Yeah.
So if it goes well, then on May's show, I'm going to be my own guest for Admissions Live, and I'm going to talk about our parent event.
That's so meta. Chris Dorso, interviewing Chris Dorso on, yeah.
My guest today. Oh, really? Oh, that's very interesting. Oh, yes, that's fantastic.
That's fantastic. I'll have to tune in for that. Parents are definitely on our radar too. Something I wanted to ask you, I know that there's probably some questions. Have you felt like the pressure to yield or your yield cycle starts even earlier, like every year?
Well, I think, yes, I think there's no question about it. And I think that comes from the fact that we're more conscious about what yield is and all of those things that I think we ever have been. And I think the problem with it, as I said in the outset, is that like ultimately we have very little control over whether or not a student actually, puts down that deposit and actually confirms to enroll. And so there are so many things that we can do to impact that in different ways. And it's about taking all these little micro things and finding a way to engage students wherever they are, as you said, in a way that they'll respond in a way that they want us to be there. It's that helping them figure out their end of that fit process. You can throw scholarship dollars at somebody, you can, offer them to visit a class, you can give them crazy glasses, but if is that what they want? I don't know. So, the same thing that works for one student may not work for the student's friend or the student's cousin who applies 2 years from now. And so that's, the real challenge. But as we build our experiences that we're looking at for fall, what is next year? 17?
Yes.
As we're looking at, what we're doing for fall 17, we've got to think about, okay, as we're budgeting, for example, for next year, we need to think about, all right, what sorts of things do we need to do in the spring and how can we plant the seeds for that now? So, we want to do more, we started doing more video stuff this year and we're trying to push that a little more. Well, how can we seed that now so that by the time next spring rolls around, students know to look for videos from us. They know to make that connection with us, and we can find that balance between where they are and where we want them to be, so that we can get good data, so that we can see if what we're doing is effective. And that stuff really does take time to build. We did a series of Twitter chats last year. And we did one with one of our it was an academic chat, and we got set up, we got ready to go and whatever, and we literally got 0 questions. And which
like your worst nightmare.
Which was infuriating because I had planted students with questions, and even they didn't provide questions. So I was not pleased. But regardless, the great thing about Twitter is that it goes away and it's fine. Twitter chat was canceled, no big deal. So, it's a matter of throwing stuff against the wall, and if it works, great. And that doesn't mean it's going to work next year, but at least gives you information as to the kinds of things that tend to work. We've been very successful with our Facebook private community the last couple of years, and this year we've seen a real interesting drop in that, and we're trying to figure out exactly what has caused that, and how we can respond to it in a way that still gets us to where our goal needs to be.
Yeah, it's we did a series of surveys, I think, with our students who were enrolled, students who withdrew, parents, the whole spectrum. And what we found out was you really start yielding when they're applying. And that was interesting for us because I think a lot of our admissions folks were like, okay, no, that's very cyclical. This is when we apply. This is when we admit. This is when we yield. This is when they enroll. And it's not really the case. It's sort of holistic and it happens around the clock. So that's something that we're kind of struggling with capitalizing on, I think is probably the best way to say it.
Yeah, we had a very contentious staff meeting this morning, actually, around the whole concept of yield and all those kinds of things, and what we do in our admissions info sessions. So we have admission sessions 10 times a week, and we have sort of our standard admission spiel that we do. And how do we shift that? How is that different in April than it is in October? Because we don't differentiate between admitted students and prospective students and freshmen and transfers and whatever. It's just the admissions information session. And are there ways that we can tweak that? And if we do tweak that now, how does that impact somebody who is here for the first time because they're a rising junior in high school, someone who's coming as a 10th grader? Or an 11th grader versus somebody who has been admitted and is up to make that final decision, and how you frame all that stuff is very, very important. Because every point of contact is important, and you don't want to lose that, or just say, oh, it's fine. We can spend 15 minutes talking about admissions criteria because they've already been admitted. It doesn't matter. But okay, well then why am I wasting 15 minutes of my time? Of their students' time, talking about admissions criteria when they already know about this stuff, or it does no longer impact them. Yep. So it's much bigger now, for better or for worse.
Definitely.
All right, so we are up on time, and I want to thank Daniella from Skidmore for joining us, and thanks to everybody for watching. We had a very good crowd out there. Thanks as always to our program sponsors, Chegg and M. Stoner. Join us Wednesday, April 6th. For Student Affairs Live. Heather Gasser is back with an episode about navigating workplace conflicts. And literally, I did not even read that in the script before I talked about our contentious staff meeting this morning. So I guess I'll be watching on Wednesday. There you go. My co-host, Nicole Lentini, is off this month. She is on the road doing her admissions traveling for Champlain. And so I'm not sure what's happening in 2 weeks. But be there, because it's going to be a good time, whoever it is. And stay tuned by subscribing to Higher Ed Live, the newsletter at higheredlive.com. As always, thanks for watching. This has been Higher Ed Live. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.